It was midnight on planet Veralia 3. The wind was cold and dry. The sky was dark with no stars. The colony was quiet like a grave. Only the sound of small machines hummed in the background. Sarah sat alone inside her outpost. She was drinking warm tea and reading an old book from Earth. Her dog Leo slept beside the fire. She was tired, but her mind could not rest. This planet always felt strange, too quiet, too still. Like something was watching from the shadows. Then came the knock. Just one knock. Soft and clear, she stood up slowly. Her hand reached for the scanner. She checked the door camera. Nothing, just the empty desert outside. She opened the door a little, her heart beating fast. And there she saw here a tall alien woman. Her skin was pale silver, her eyes were deep purple and full of pain. She held a small child in her arms. Her voice was weak. "Please, my daughter needs water." Then she fell right at Sarah's feet. No warning, no strength left. Sarah looked down in shock. The child did not cry. She just stared at Sarah with strange blue eyes. Leo growled softly, but did not bark. Sarah bent down and touched the woman's skin. It was cold, too cold. She pulled them inside quickly. The alien woman was bleeding, but not red. The blood was blue and glowing. The child sat still and watched Sarah with no fear. Sarah gave water to the child. She drank fast, her hands shaking. Then her eyes glowed brighter. For a moment Sarah stepped back, but the child looked calm. The woman opened her eyes for a second. She tried to speak. "They are coming," she said. Then she fainted again. Sarah used her med kit, but the alien body was different. The scanner showed wounds like burn marks. Laser burns, may be old and fresh. Both Sarah asked the child, "What is your name?" But the child did not speak. She only held something close to her chest. A small metal box with strange symbols. Sarah took a closer look. There was a symbol that looked like Earth, like a world map. She sent a message to the main colony hub, requesting help, but the signal was jammed or blocked. She felt a chill run through her spine. This was not normal. Sarah searched the alien woman's clothes. Inside a pocket she found a tag. It was not made of any metal, she knew, but it had coordinates, Earth coordinates. How did she get that? How did she know Earth? She checked the window. The desert was silent again, but something felt wrong. Like the air was too heavy. Sarah walked back to the table. The child was asleep, still holding the metal box. Leo growled again, this time louder. His ears stood up. He looked at the door. Then Sarah heard a low sound in the sky, very low, like a whisper from a machine. She ran to the radar screen. It showed a moving signal, a ship coming fast, but no ID, no response to messages. She looked at the alien woman. She was barely breathing. What did she bring here? Who was chasing her? And why Earth? Sarah looked at the child again. She was glowing softly, like her body carried light inside. This was not just a mother and child lost in the desert. This was something bigger, something dangerous. Sarah turned off all outside lights. She locked all doors. She picked up her old plasma pistol. The ship was close now. Too close. She knew this night would not end easy. Then the child opened her eyes and spoke for the first time, voice soft and perfect. "You are our last chance." Asterisk. The desert was breathing with silence. The stars above were hiding behind thick clouds. The air smelled like metal and dust. Sarah stood still with her pistol in hand, eyes fixed on the radar screen. That strange ship was circling, not landing, not leaving, just watching. The child was awake again, sitting on the cold floor, holding that small metal box close to her heart, her eyes glowing blue, soft, silent, not afraid. Sarah walked over slowly. She sat down on one knee. "Who are you?" she asked, but the child just tilted her head, like she was trying to remember something. Suddenly the lights flickered, the scanner beeped twice, and the alien woman coughed loud, rough. She was alive. Sarah rushed to her. The woman looked at her with tired eyes. "You are not safe. They found us," she whispered. Sarah helped her sit up. "Who are they? Why are they here? Why did you come to me?" The woman looked at her daughter, then back at Sarah. "Because you are human, because you can choose. You are not like them." "Then who is them?" Sarah asked again. Alien woman reached into her cloak. She pulled out a small silver needle. It was glowing red. She held Sarah's hand gently and placed the needle against her skin. No pain, just a rush of heat. Images flashed in Sarah's mind. A war, cities burning, children running, a planet breaking in half. Then came the dark ships, silent and cold. No voices, only machines. The collectors. Sarah opened her eyes. She gasped. What was that? What did you show me? The alien woman looked weaker. Now they come to planets like yours. They take what they want. They leave ashes behind. And your daughter? Sarah asked. She is not just my daughter. She is the last of the seeded. She carries memory code, hope. Sarah looked at the child again, and for the first time she saw more than a child. She saw power, a spark of something ancient. But before she could speak, a loud thud shook the walls. The ship outside was landing. Lights turned red. Alarm systems triggered. They are here, the woman said, her voice cracking. Sarah ran to her control panel, tried to send another distress signal. Still blocked. The child stood now, calm and still, like she was waiting. Leo barked, his tail stiff. He ran to the door and growled again. Sarah grabbed her tools, locked the inner doors, powered the emergency shields. Woman touched Sarah's shoulder. I do not ask for your life, I only ask for time. Help her survive. That is all I need. The floor shook again. Dust fell from the ceiling. Sarah looked outside from the small window. Figures in black armor walked out of the ship, tall, heavy, with no face. Their hands glowed like weapons. Sarah looked at the child. She was looking back. No tears, only light in her eyes. What are you? Sarah whispered. The child walked to her, slowly placed the metal box in Sarah's hand, then said not what, but when. Before Sarah could ask again, the door shook from the outside. A voice echoed from the speaker. Give us the seed or be erased. Sarah looked at the alien woman. She nodded. This is your moment, choose. And so Sarah made her choice, not with words, but with action. She turned off the beacon, grabbed the child, and stepped into the dark hallway, ready to fight, ready to run, ready to protect, even if she did not know what came next. The night was not a night anymore. It was a shadow, heavy, silent, alive. The walls of the outpost creaked under pressure. Outside, black armored figures moved like ghosts. No words, no emotion, only purpose. Inside, Sarah held the child close, one arm around her other, gripping the plasma pistol, her breath slow, her heart loud. The alien woman lay against the wall, eyes half open, hands cold. She watched Sarah. She watched her daughter. Then she spoke. It is inside her, but not only flesh, not only bone, a code. A key, a living map. Sarah blinked. She could not understand. What do you mean, what is inside her? The woman tried to raise her hand, pointed at the child's chest. Right here. Her father hid it, before they took him, before the collectors came. Sarah looked at the child again. She seemed normal, small hands, soft hair, blue glowing eyes. But now she knew she was carrying more than memories. She was carrying a secret alive. Suddenly, the lights turned blue. The scanner beeped 3 times. Sarah ran to the console. Someone was trying to override the doors. Outside, the soldiers raised a device. It spun in the air and sent a wave of static through the metal walls. They are breaking in. No time left. Sarah opened the med scanner. She scanned the child pulse. Normal, body stable. Then the screen flashed red, warning, unknown tech detected, foreign core biotech active. Sarah looked at the alien woman. What did you do to her? Is she safe? Is she still a child? The woman smiled, half sadness, half pride. She is more. She is the last chance, the last voice of a broken world. Before Sarah could ask again, the metal box in her hand opened by itself. A light came out, soft blue, floating in the air. It showed a man's face, alien features, but kind eyes. The voice began to speak. If you are watching this, then we are gone, and only she remains. Inside her is the seed of what we were. Memories, names, truth, and a warning. Do not trust the collectors. Do not think they will stop at us. They want Earth too. They always have. Sarah watched the message, her hands cold, her thoughts spinning. She looked at the child. The child looked at her. No fear, just trust. The door shook again, this time louder. Pieces of the outer frame began to break. We have to leave now. Sarah picked up a bag Loaded food tools, energy cells. She turned to the alien woman. "Can you walk?" she asked. The woman shook her head slowly. "I cannot go. I will slow you down. They will find me. They will think she died with me." Sarah paused. She hated leaving anyone behind. But the clock was no longer ticking. It was screaming. She leaned down, placed her hand on the woman's shoulder. "I will protect her. I promise." The woman smiled. A tear slid down her silver cheek. "She is not just my child. She is the last memory of a people." Sarah turned to the hallway, held the child tight, opened the hatch beneath the floor. An escape tunnel, old, dusty, forgotten. As they climbed down, the child whispered something very soft, almost lost in the wind. "I dreamed of you before I came here." Sarah looked back. "What did you say?" The child did not answer. She just held Sarah's hand tighter up above. The door crashed open. Boots hit the floor. Voices in static filled the room. But they were already gone into the darkness below, into the unknown, carrying something the universe had tried to erase, something alive, something waiting. Asterisk. The tunnel was dark. Not like night, but like a cave with no memory of light. Dust moved with every step, old air, stale and heavy. The sound of metal boots above still echoed. Sarah moved fast, the child close behind her, small hand never letting go. Each turn in the tunnel was colder, each breath harder. Then came the voice. Metallic, sharp, spoken through machines. "They are below. Scan the ground." The collectors had found the hatch, and they were coming. Sarah stopped at a cross-section. 3 paths ahead, each unmarked, each unknown. She looked at the child. "Which way?" she whispered. The child closed her eyes. For a moment nothing moved. Then her finger pointed left. No words, no reason. Just knowing. They ran, feet silent, hearts loud behind them. The tunnel began to rumble. The enemy was cutting through. They reached an old gate, locked, sealed by rust and time. Sarah pulled her toolset, hands shaking, not from fear, from time slipping away. The child stepped back. She placed her hand on the wall. Blue light spread from her fingers, soft like liquid moonlight. And the gate opened, not broken, not forced, but invited. Sarah looked at her. "What are you?" she whispered. The child answered only with her eyes, then turned and walked through the gate. They entered an old chamber, walls covered in markings, some human, some alien, some carved with fire. In the center, a terminal, still powered, still alive. Sarah touched the screen. It blinked once. Then words appeared. "Welcome, Commander Ethan Green." Sarah froze. That name. It was her brother, gone for years, lost in a black zone mission, never found, never explained. She looked at the child. "How do you know this place? How do you know him?" The child looked at the terminal, then back at Sarah. "He helped my father. He tried to stop them. He failed." Sarah felt her knees weaken. Her brother was here, connected, tangled in something deeper. Before she could speak, the chamber shook again. The collectors were now inside the tunnel. The child walked to the center of the room. She opened the metal box, placed it on the floor. The box released a pulse. Like a silent explosion, a wave of energy pushed through the walls above. The soldiers stopped. Their weapons blinked. Their COMS died. Below, the terminal lit up. New words appeared. DFENZ. Protocol Ionite. Sarah grabbed her weapon. Lights flashed red. Defense turrets came out from hidden walls. Then came the storm. The ceiling cracked. Metal hands broke through collector units. Dropped down. Sarah fired first. Clean shot. One enemy down. The turrets came alive, firing in sharp bursts. Blue sparks flew through the air. The child stood still, not afraid, her body glowing with every pulse of fire. One of the collectors moved past the defense, came too close before Sarah could react. The child raised her hand. Air shifted. The collector froze, sank to its knees. Its eyes dimmed, then shut off. No wires touched, no force used. Just a thought. Sarah stared at her. "What did you do?" she asked. Child looked up. "They are not alive. They are echoes. I silenced the echo." The chamber roared with sound, smoke, light, voices that did not belong to any throat. Sarah kept fighting, kept moving, kept protecting. She had no plan, only fire, only instinct, until finally silence again. The last collector dropped. The light in the chamber returned to normal. Sarah fell to her knees, breathing hard, face covered in dust. A child came to her, placed a hand on her shoulder. "Thank you." she said. Sarah looked up. No more fear in her eyes, only purpose. Where do we go now? She asked. The child pointed to a tunnel behind the terminal. Below that, there is something we need. A place where truth still sleeps. Sarah stood, gripped her weapon, nodded once, then let the shadows swallow them again. Silence wrapped the lower tunnel like a blanket. No air, no sound, only breath, only heartbeat. Sarah followed the child to the path of forgotten stone. The walls were marked with symbols, some human, some older, some alive. Each step felt like falling through time. Her boots touched dust that had not moved in years, maybe in centuries. The child walked without fear. She did not look back, her hands glowing faintly with each step. The way forward answered her like a memory. Sarah was not sure what she was walking toward. She only knew something was calling, not with a voice, but with a feeling. Then came the chamber. It opened like a mouth, circular, tall, too smooth to be built by hand. In the center floated a sphere, dark and silver, spinning in slow silence. The child stepped forward. She placed her palm against the orb. No sound came. No light flashed, but something changed. Sarah felt it in her bones, like gravity shifted, like the floor forgot. It was solid. Then came the vision, not outside, not on a screen, but inside her head, clear as the sun, sharp as pain. She saw cities in the clouds. She saw towers made of song. She saw the collectors tearing it all down piece by piece, world by world. She saw Ethan, her brother, running through a burning hallway, holding the same box the child now carried. He looked behind and shouted, "Protect her. She is not a weapon. She is memory. She is hope." Then black. The child pulled back her hand. The orb split open. From inside came a crystal, glowing, pulsing, alive. The child took it gently, held it close. "This is my core. My father placed the code here, away from them, away from death." Sarah looked at the crystal. "What does it do?" she asked. The child looked up, eyes glowing brighter. "It remembers, it teaches, it awakens what was locked." Sarah knelt down beside her. "And what is inside you? What do you become?" The child answered, not with pride, not with fear, but with truth. "I become what they fear. A voice that cannot be deleted, a light they cannot turn off, a seed they cannot burn." Sarah touched the crystal. It pulsed once sharp, then entered her hand, not through skin, but through something deeper. Information poured into her mind, names, dates, stars, a secret, files, buried messages, truths Earth never told. She saw her brother again. He was speaking to a hidden camera. His voice cracked. Earth made a deal. They traded silence for power. They knew what the collectors were, but they opened the door anyway. Sarah pulled her hand away, her breath shaking, her heart louder than before. "We were never alone," she whispered. "No," the child said. "And now you are not blind." The chamber lights dimmed. The orb faded into dust. Its work was done. Sarah looked at the child. "So what now?" she asked. The child turned toward the dark exit. "Now we go to the place where the signal was born. Now we wake up the others." Sarah nodded, her thoughts still spinning, her chest still heavy, but her purpose was no longer borrowed. It was her own. They walked out of the chamber, back into the tunnel, carrying not just a code, but a cause behind them. The crystal hum still echoed, like a song that would never end. The ground changed beneath their feet. Stone became steel, dust became ash, and the air began to hum. Sarah and the child reached the door. It was wide, old, marked with two symbols, one alien, one human. The child placed her hand on the scanner. A voice spoke from the wall, low and tired, like it had waited too long. "DNA match confirmed. Welcome back." The door slid open, slow, heavy, as if lifting the weight of buried years inside. The lights flickered on, not bright, just enough to show the walls, covered in maps, blueprints, photos. And then she saw a picture burned at the edge, hanging crooked. It was Ethan, her brother, smiling, wearing the same jacket he wore the day he left Earth, the same day he was declared missing. Sarah walked closer. Her fingers touched the faded photo. Then she heard the voice, "If you are hearing this, then the last line has been crossed, and there is no way back." It was Ethan, a recording. "Buried in the bunker system, I found out the truth. The deal The plan Earth gave them the outer colonies in return for technology, weapons, cures, power. They gave away people, families, aliens, whole cities like coins. And I was one of the few who said no. Sarah stared at the screen, her hands shaking, her lips frozen. The child stood still. She had no tears, but her glow dimmed, like she could feel Sarah's pain. Ethan's voice continued. I tried to protect her, the seed, the last memory of their world. She is not a weapon, she's a library. She's everything they erased. If she reaches this bunker, then maybe there is still hope. Because that means someone made the right choice. Sarah turned away from the screen. Her breath caught in her chest. This place, this bunker was built with blood and silence. She walked deeper. The child followed. They passed rooms filled with files, human experiments, alien prisoners, unknown machines, half alive. One room had Earth flags on every wall, but none of it felt like Earth. It felt like a lie wearing a smile. Sarah found a control room. She turned on the main console. A map of Earth and the stars appeared, and in red, the signal. It was coming from Earth itself, not from the collectors, not from aliens, but from a hidden base. On the dark side of the moon, they sent the signal. They called the collectors. They wanted her found. Sarah's face hardened. She looked at the child. They betrayed you. They betrayed him. They betrayed me. The child spoke softly. Then let's show them what truth sounds like. Sarah uploaded the memory code into the system. The walls shook slightly, as if even the bunker felt the weight of what it carried. Outside, old antennas turned toward Earth. A signal was sent, a broadcast. No more secrets. No more silence. Sarah saw one last file, Ethan's personal log. She opened it, and for the first time, she saw his last message. Tell Sarah, I'm sorry. Tell her I had to choose. And I chose the voice no one else would listen to. She closed her eyes, and for 1 second, she was not a fighter, not a protector, just a sister holding the truth in her hands. When she opened her eyes, the child was already walking toward the exit. She did not look back, and neither did Sarah. There was no more bunker, only sky above and a ship approaching in silence. But this time they were not the hunted. This time they were the storm. The sky above Earth was not blue. It was red, cloudless. Burning from within, the moon hung heavy, not peaceful, not quiet, but awake, watching from its hidden side. The signal kept pulsing, not to warn, but to welcome. The collectors were coming, not to invade, to collect what they were promised. But something had changed. Sarah was no longer running. She was no longer hiding. She stood at the edge of the old launch bay, wind cutting through her jacket, eyes on the stars, mind on fire. Beside her stood the child, now glowing from within, not scared, not small, but rising. The bunker behind them had sent the signal, not of surrender, but of truth across human channels, across alien ears. The broadcast spread like light through cracks. The truth was out. The deal was broken, and now Earth would have to face its own silence. A ship appeared from the clouds, black, silent, a collector vessel 10 times larger than the last. Its engine sounded like thunder in slow motion. Sarah did not flinch. The child did not blink. Ship hovered, then released drones, hundreds, maybe more, each one armed, each one perfect. A voice came from the sky, flat, machine filtered. Final, give us the seed and Earth will be spared. Sarah stepped forward, her voice steady. Then you came to the wrong planet, and the ground shook behind her. The defenses activated, bunker guns, old war machines, and satellites reprogrammed by the child's code. Air lit up with energy, fire met fire, sky met sky. Sarah fought like a flame, precise, focused, burning from inside. She moved through metal and ash, never letting the child out of sight. The child stood still, her hands open, her voice silent, but above. The collector ship began to slow, begin to crack, begin to fall. Sarah watched the core of the ship break apart, like glass under light, and then she saw the child was rising. Her feet no longer touched the ground. Her eyes glowed brighter than the stars. The crystal inside her had awakened. She looked down at Sarah, her voice calm. You gave me your world, now I give you mine. And with one burst of light, everything stopped. No sound, no wind, just light. The ship tore open from within, its systems erased. Its memory burned. The drones fell one by one lifeless. The sky cleared not just of machines, but of silence. The child floated down her light, fading. Sarah caught her in her arms. She was still warm, still smiling, but the crystal was gone. Code had left her, returned to the stars, where it came from. Sarah held her close, not as a protector, not as a soldier, but as a mother, and the world changed. Cities heard the truth. Colonies remembered the forgotten, and the name Sarah Green was no longer just a person. It was a story, a warning, a promise. The last collector never returned, and Earth never sent another signal. Into the dark, Sarah never left the surface again. She built a home not in stone, but in memory. And some nights when the stars are clear, she hears a small voice, not lost, not afraid, just whispering, "I dreamed of you before I came here."